Paul Choi from Organizing for America, and Isabel Couture. We're all here on her behalf also, not just for seniors, but for Isabel and all of the young people of her age. So we're delighted to have the two of you speak with us also.
Hi, everybody. Hi. How's everyone doing? Good. I'm Isabel, and I'm from Sylva, North Carolina. I'm in 7th grade, and I'm a volunteer for President Obama. President Obama was elected through the hard work of thousands and thousands of volunteers. Now we're asking volunteers to help us with today's tough issues like health insurance reform and climate change. Last year, I canvassed neighborhoods in Sylva, knocking on doors and talking to my community about change. We are part of a historic election, and now we need to continue working for the change that we elected. Organizing for America is President Obama's grassroots volunteer organization. Join me and help fight for healthcare reform by knocking on doors, calling your friends and neighbors. These personal one-on-one conversations are so important in fighting the myths and disinformation perpetuated by 24-hour news and controversy-seeking pundits. The cost of inaction is too great for this opportunity to pass us by. This is a once-in-a-generation chance to fix our broken healthcare system. If you see a senior next to you, give them a hug and thank them for leading the way today. They're here fighting for all of us.
What about that?
I'm only in 7th grade, but I'll be a senior one day. But I don't want to wait that long. And no one else should have to wait that long for affordable health care. As President Obama said, we are one people, we are one nation, and together we will begin the next great chapter in the American story with words that rise from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. Yes, we can! Yes, we can! Yes, we can! Yes, we can! Thank you, Asheville.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming out on this gorgeous day. My name is Paul. I'm the Regional Field Director for Organizing for America here in Western North Carolina. This past presidential election changed my life. For the first time, I was engaged in activism, and I realized there are two ways of changing the world: politics and service in the community. Consider how much money is being spent by healthcare lobbyists. Special interest lobbyists are spending over $1.5 million a day, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, all against healthcare reform. Organizing for America knows how to fight back. As much as we dislike these lobbyists, we want you to think of yourselves as grassroots lobbyists, as community organizers, people working their day jobs by day and working to change the world by night and on weekends or whenever you have spare time. These seniors here are doing just that. Can you spare watching that 2-hour movie this week and instead help make some calls for healthcare reform? We need to work just as hard as lobbyists do, and that's how we'll win this fight. Consider the fact that for years, especially the last 8 years, special interest lobbyists have written our laws and policies in Washington, D.C., laws and policies that affect all of us. Unfortunately, former Congressman Newt Gingrich, with his Contract for America, and President Bush took power in D.C. and allowed special interests to dictate their agenda, and we've all seen the results. But even more unfortunate is that the left sat around and did very little about it. I recently asked one activist who was a bit jaded, "Did you vote in 2000 and 2004? "Of course she did," she replied. "Well, do you realize that a lot of like-minded folks around you did not vote? And what did you do to get the vote out?" One of the seniors here told me they marched on Washington for civil rights, but afterwards, these same activists let things slide. Unfortunately, there was a liberal generation that let things slip. We cannot afford to let that happen any longer. And now we've got a big ship to turn around, and President Obama is doing just that. He's turning the ship, but it will take steps, especially since we let things get so bad. Does everyone remember these last 8 years? Now a lot of us, including myself, would like to see a single-payer, cost-efficient healthcare system in this country. A system that the rest of the world has. But let me ask you, what does the pathway to a single-payer, cost-efficient healthcare system look like in this country? What are the steps and what are the timelines? Well, I can tell you the answer is twofold. How many of you here believe local politics is important? Please raise your hands. And how many of you have volunteered for local politics or parts of our local government? Part of the success by the Contract for America was starting at the local level. Most of us don't really pay attention to local offices, but former Congressman Gingrich built their movement by electing people to local offices and working their way up. We must do the same. We must elect good people to local offices like Holly Jones, who is here, and that takes each of you to get involved. Let's give a big cheer to our motorcade coming by. Woo!